There we are. Let's click my live section. On my desktop, let me just get the chat set up. Oh, gotta mute my my desktop. There we go. Thought I had done that. Apparently not. Let me just set up my goal really quick. So just give me a moment. If you're watching this on the replay, just, fast forward through the first minute or two. I can't do this setup ahead of time unless it's like a video premiere. So this is a live, people, a vertical live. So I have to do it like after the recording starts. Hey, read it close. There we go. Just setting up my screens really quick so that my desktop and my recording device, that we're all on the same page. Well, already 17 people in the house. I got Miami as my green screen today in the background. Let me just set that to all messages. There we go. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Lee Holiday from Peoria, Arizona. How hot is it in Arizona? We're absolutely baking in LA. My dirty laundry is sitting in the laundry bag on the floor because there's no way I'm going to walk to the back of the building multiple times today because it's going to be worse next week. So I may have to start doing laundry in the sink. Hot in Louisiana, says Ann. Hey, Crystal. It's too hot. I can imagine in Arizona, but you guys will start to have a break, in the fall, just when LA will start really heating up. Hello, I'm interested. Hey, Patricia. Let me just give it a few moments for a few people to come in. Some of my my regulars. I'm seeing a lot of new faces. That's cool. Or reading new usernames, I should say. I can see some of your faces in the little avatars, but it's kind of small on my phone screen. I'm just doing this on an iPhone 17 because for some reason the YouTube algorithm likes it that way. Hey, mostly Dallas helicopters. Thank you, my friend. Sent a star, the first jewel of the day. You're in Selma, Texas. It's hot. Wow. I don't even know where Selma, Texas is. Where is that? I mean, I've obviously, driven through Texas many times in my life, but where is Selma? 103. Yikes. That's probably hotter than it is here. But we're just getting into our miserable time of year. This is the time of year that I start watching my YouTube Alaska friends. I'm watching the Alaska videos and watching the snow just because in my mind I like to travel there at night while I'm like, okay, I'm in Alaska and it's cold and it's snowy because we're like dying here. It's right next to San Antonio. Oh, one of my best friends from high school lives near there. That's cool. Let's see. Yeah, I hear San Antonio is really a nice place. Okay, 37 people in the house. Let me just get this started. My name is April Davis. I'm April Davis PI actually here on YouTube because I'm a licensed California private investigator here in Los Angeles. And I am not working any of these cases that I'm reporting on. I'm simply reporting the news. Mostly those helicopters. Hello, I am a PIP. Yes, you are, my friend. That stands for the PI Posse. For those that are new here, that's for the channel members. Crystal loves watching the polar bears. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, here we are. I did a long form video last night, and I thought, you know what? It's too late to get it out. Let me release it Friday morning. But then I woke up and I couldn't go back to sleep like I normally do because I was thinking about it. And I'm like, do I really want to release this right now, or do I want to come on the air live and talk about it first? A black bear just ran out in front of us on the highway. Oh, wow. That's awesome. When I woke up today, there's actually a report, and I can't confirm it, that there was a bear spotted in Studio City, which is here in the San Fernando Valley in the city of Los Angeles at Tujunga and Ventura. Now, I used to live in that neighborhood. That's where my mailbox is located. I can't confirm that it's true, but there have been bears seen as close as Encino. And so that is yet to be confirmed. We have a couple of new mountain lions in the area, but never in my lifetime has there been a bear at that location. So we will wait and see if I can get it confirmed. Like, that's mind blowing. And it could just be some joker, on the Nextdoor app. So we'll find out. Yeah, I know we're taking their land, but let me get this started. I did record a video. I may or may not release it later. You guys feel free to go watch it. You're obviously here because you're interested in what I'm going to say about Perez Hilton. Remember, I've never met him in person, but in the years since my cancer recovery, but I think it was prior to my heart side effects starting, I did go live with him maybe 2 or 3 times on his social media, not on my channel at all. And, he was a very nice man. And was I aware of some of his past transgressions? Yes. Was I aware of all of them? No. Have I kind of been shocked since everything that happened has come out? Yes. But I'm not going to kick a man when he's down. And if by any chance he ever happens to see this, which I know he has no access to a phone or a tablet or the internet right now, but if he ever sees this in the future, Perez, I'm pulling for you. Hello, Nanette. However, his custody case involving his children has now been sealed. And as everybody knows, his mother did file for, and she did secure temporary custody of the kids the Friday after his incident happened, which was on a Tuesday night, August the 4th. So in under 72 hours, she was granted temporary custody of the kids, which is what I expected because they don't have any moms. Their grandmother is the only, other than their aunt, she's the only, permanent female fixture in their lives who has lived with them. Because, the aunt, she lives in Los Angeles. That would be his sister, Barbara. She happened to be in Miami when all of this went down. We've already talked about that. If you haven't seen those lives, go watch those lives. But I'm a little bit disturbed. So much so that I wasn't even sure if I should release the video because I thought about what if Perez watches this later and, he gets butthurt over it. But, and I'm not doing this for the money. I was on YouTube for almost 6 years before I got monetized. And I'm not making a pile of money. I'm just not. But I don't know. This really, really bothers me. This story broke yesterday on TMZ. It was not reported on PerezHilton.com. It has not been reported by a sister. And I hesitate to believe anything that's not reported by the family. However, I've never had a problem with TMZ either and their reporting. Some people love them. Some people hate them. I don't have a problem at all with Harvey Levin. And I believe this story, even though supposedly the case is sealed. And it's regarding visitation. And I have such mixed feelings that I wasn't sure if I should do the live. Should I do the long form? Should I do them both? Should I do neither? And I'm hoping that you guys today in the chat can help me make sense of this. Because even though I'm very concerned about what happened to him and I'm concerned for his family, my biggest concern since the day this happened, after the shock kind of wore off, my biggest concern was for his children. And I don't even know his kids. I don't have a problem with TMZ at all. So let me just read this and then we'll talk about it. It says, Perez Hilton will be able to see his kids while his mother has temporary custody, but only if certain conditions are met. New court docs obtained by TMZ show a judge granted Perez visitation with his 3 children, but it must be supervised by either a family member agreed upon by both sides or a therapist. There's another condition. Perez must first obtain psychiatric clearance, and the supervised arrangement stays in place until the court orders otherwise, or, and this is a kicker, or Perez and his mom agree to something different. Well, how do they just make a decision? They're not the judge and the jury here. The judge also officially granted Perez's mother, Teresita Lavandiera, temporary custody of the kids. Yeah, we knew that. The order notes Perez is their only legal parent and consented to the arrangement. Yeah, we heard that. Per the order, Teresita now has authority over the children's medical care, school enrollment, and other decisions necessary for their care. Obviously, that's why she did it. As TMZ previously reported, Teresita filed for temporary custody after Perez was hospitalized earlier this month following a mental health crisis. Well, that's a mild way of putting it. A crisis at his Florida home where he appeared to self-harm. The family said Perez's children, niece, and sister were at the home when he first began showing signs of the crisis, but quickly left once they realized he was unwell. Yeah, now she didn't go into gory details, but she did say that she had an encounter with him in his bathroom, and he had a box cutter. He was bleeding. He was nude, or let's just say unclothed, and that she, grabbed her car keys and fled. Now, did she say, hey, kids, hurry, hurry, panic, run, run, run? Or did she just say, come on, kids, let's go. We're leaving right now. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't there. We'll probably never know the details. But she said that they fled. This wasn't the press's terminology. This is coming from her. We fled the location. And while her car was still in the driveway, and presumably the kids were already in the car, and presumably the windows were up and the doors were locked, this person, who she didn't even recognize as her brother anymore, comes running out of the house. Excuse me, drinking this coffee bean and tea leaf decaf. He comes running out of the house, unclothed, obviously covered in bodily fluids, banging on the car window, presumably on the driver's side, trying to get her to either open the door or roll the window down. And she's trying to call a friend who lives nearby to come pick up the kids, but, probably not there, like in the driveway, maybe somewhere safely around the corner. Her mom's not home at the time, but the kids, they had to live through the terror of having to flee the safety of their home because their home was no longer safe, and be in the car, presumably sitting in the driveway or the front of the house, as this maniac, who is their only parent, coming out of the house. Now they're saying that he also was suffering from an overdose at that time. So now, fast forward, what is it, 17 days later, 16 days later? Yeah, because this came out yesterday. And it happened on the 4th. Like 16 days later, it's a little more than 2 weeks. A judge is saying he can have visitation. I don't know. Before I go further with this, how do you guys feel about that? Do you think that that's a wonderful thing? Or if it's horrific, it's horrible, and it's going to bite everybody in the behind because he's still in the hospital. He hasn't even probably got to the point in his physical well-being yet where they could, transfer him to a psychiatric facility where they can do the analyzing of his Baker hold. Because remember, he has a 72-hour hold, but did that go into effect the day he got there? Or I've also heard that doesn't even go into effect until he's transferred out of his physical care to his psychiatric care, which is probably going to be in a different facility. It depends on what facilities they have or what capabilities they have in the hospital. He was taken, because he was profusely bleeding, to the first hospital to save his life from the blood loss. All the mental health stuff, that's all got to be sorted out later. So, he could be in the hospital and in a private facility for months, maybe even longer than that. Princino, Alina. Perez loves his children. Yes, more than life itself. He had a mental break. He deserves another chance to be a father. Thank you. Thank you for that opinion. Do you have any alternative thoughts you can use to make yourself feel better? I don't know what you're talking about. Where are you coming in from, Alina? I love that TMZ, they're right there, always are. Yes. That's their job. Why does he do that with kids in the house? He is unfit to be a father. Obviously, in that condition, I agree. Let's see. So it is what it is, but let me just read these comments. In Florida, CPS is called DPS. Investigators are called CPIs, and they should report to a judge what those children psychologically need. Oh, you're in Alabama. I used to live there. Welcome in, Alabama. Was he still doing his podcast when he broke? Yes, but not at that exact moment. I agree too. I hope Hilton does get well. Me too, Mimi. Oh my gosh. Kelly says TMZ has lies. Like I said, this has not been publicly stated by Barbara, and I don't have any paperwork in front of me to prove this, but I believe this story. I don't know this guy, but he needs to clean up his life first. Don't put those kids in that yet. They're already traumatized. That's how I feel, Mary Kay. And, I'm sure they miss their daddy. Supposedly only his mother and his sister have seen them so far. His own management agency, not his agents, but his talent agency. Yeah, his agents. What am I saying? His manager. I'm pretty sure it's his agency. They have not even been able to speak to him since this happened. His own agents can't reach him. I don't think the children have probably been allowed to be around him yet. But remember, he voluntarily put himself in a different hospital a week before this happened, saying that he needed help, and he was quickly pushed out of the system and sent home. And this happened. In this country, our healthcare, we're almost living in a third world country here in the United States, and he has insurance because he talked about the insurance and how he was still going to be broke from the medical bills from Las Vegas, even though, he had insurance. So, a lot of times medical decisions are made in this country based on, well, how much insurance do you have? Have you met your deductible? What are your co-pays going to be? He loves his kids more than the earth, the sun, water, oxygen. Like, they are his number one priority. But they obviously weren't his number one priority on the night that he had his mental break. And I don't want to kick a man when he's down. That's why I'm not sure I'm even going to release the long form. Maybe I should, since we're talking about it now. But, how in the heck do you say that he could be around the children? Because remember, the family, apparently they're still living in the rental house in Miami. That small house. And it's not small for me, but it's small for him compared to his $4.25 million mansion in Las Vegas. And I'm sure all that's up in the air right now, too, because he's not mentally well enough to speak to anybody or make any decisions. He's not allowed to have a phone, or, they're going to have to appoint a conservator for him to handle his financial matters, because he wouldn't be able to sign anything if somebody made an offer. He can't do anything. And his mother, God bless her, just love Mama Perez, she's not getting any younger. Is supervised visits a possibility? Yes, that's what we're talking about. That's what, according to TMZ, that's what a judge allegedly granted temporary, and not just temporary custody to his mom, which is, I'm fine with that, but that he could have supervised visits, but it has to be psychiatrically approved. But, he and his mother or a family member, they could change their minds and do something different. She's not going to be his babysitter. Yeah, they'll live in the same house, but she can't be up 24 hours a day. She has to go to sleep at night. She has to take a shower and use the restroom and eat and, drive the car and go to the store, or, walk to the mailbox or handle the kids, or, she could be in the laundry room or the garage and, bam, you don't know what's going to happen. This guy, look what he did. I hear that he may be permanently disfigured for life. There's a rumor now that there may be some type of injuries to his private body parts. That's all we're going to say. Don't know if that's true. This is going to affect him and his family for the rest of their lives. And I want what's best for him, but more so, I want what's best for the kids. And I don't know these people. I got nothing. I got no say in it. But, it's only been a little more than 2 weeks. And they're saying that he can have supervised visit with the kids. He's not even allowed to have a phone, a tablet, a computer. They're saying that he can communicate, but not to what extent. Like, maybe he can go, hold up a finger, hold up to, I don't even know if he can speak. Okay. And a judge is like, oh, like he can have visitation supervised, but he would be going home to his house eventually once he's released. But remember the last hospital he was in, they just kicked him to the curb. And then all this happened. I mean, I feel horrible for this man. No matter what you think of him, you love him, you hate him, you forgive him for his past, you think he's a changed man, you don't, you think he's an a-hole, whatever you think about those kids. Think about what they saw, what they heard. They're in the car. They're fleeing. She said the word fled. Did they have to run? Did they walk? Did they trot? No, I'm sure there was sheer terror at that moment that they were fleeing that house and trying to get to the safety of that vehicle. And a madman is chasing them, but it's their father. Do you think they're ever going to recover from that? And, 16 days later, they're like, bam, he can see his children. Like, I'm completely dumbfounded by this. Connie. April, you have one of the best channels. I'm trying, but Connie, I'm sure my blood pressure is I can hear my tinnitus right now, like, zzz. That means my blood pressure is and that's with my medication. I want what's best for those kids, and I'm sure they're dying to see their daddy. Remember when O.J. Simpson finally got out of jail? And eventually the kids who had been staying with the grandparents because the mother was gone, DEAD, gone, eventually, once he was set free, those grandparents had to turn over custody back to OJ. And when they met at an agreed meeting spot, and apparently, and they hadn't seen him since before their mother's unaliving, they ran from the car when they saw him and ran and jumped into his arms. I mean, even the Browns, meaning Nicole Brown Simpson's parents, they were very emotional when they had to release the kids, but, they needed to see their dad again, even though all of this had happened, because they were still minors. And then as they became adults, I'm sure they processed it in different ways. Apparently his youngest son still had something to do with them, but his youngest daughter didn't, because I think she's realizing now that, daddy did this. But, a criminal court found him innocent, even though a civil court found him guilty. I mean, yeah, this is an effed up case. But the point I'm trying to make is I'm sure the kids, they want to see him. But can you imagine that at any given point in time, some psychiatrist in a hospital somewhere in Florida could say, well, I think under this medication, he's doing okay. And they could send him home. And then he could come home and see that, he goes to his mailbox and get his, his $1 million hospital bill or whatever. Or his sister's like, yeah, I'm running your business again, but we're not making any money because the face of the business, which is Perez, is unable to, have a device, meaning a phone or a tablet or a computer. He can't even talk to his own agents or his own managers. His sister, she manages the website part and his finances, but his own talent agency, they're not allowed to speak to him. Apparently his own children, at least to the point that Barbara last talked about it, they hadn't been allowed to go to the hospital and see him. So can you imagine that at some point someone's going to say, yep, you're out the door, and they send him home. And everything's just going to be like, nothing ever happened? That's BS, people. Like, if I were one of those kids, I wouldn't want to go back. I'd be like, send me to a foster home. Like, I would be terrified. Okay, I'm going to calm down here, and you guys put in the chat, what do you think? Do you think that they should have made this decision so quickly that he can have supervised visits with his kids? Is this a good thing? Yes? Or is this bad? Let me know. It's great. It's good. It's bad. It's terrible. Jennifer, or Jenny, I'm sorry, Jenny, says absolutely not. I don't think it'll ever be the same. Never. What's the name of his co-host? I forget. Booker. Hey, Connie, LA. Boy, it's getting hot in here, and the air's still running. It's so hot outside. Natasha, thank you, Jenny. Let's see. Let me go back. I missed a lot of stuff. Let's see. Oh, let me give Connie a heart on her super chat. First super chat of the day. I can always count on Connie. Everybody give her a thumbs up on the super chat. Sorry, Connie, I'm not trying to ignore you. It's just that I'm so like, I can't even believe. I've seen those kids since they were born, and he was in the hospital, and he would put them skin to skin contact because that's what a baby needs when they're born. They would literally take the baby from the surrogate, who, by the way, is not the biological mother. The biological mother is some unidentified, unknown egg donor, same donor for all three kids, but all three kids were born via separate surrogates in separate states. And then they would immediately just take the baby, rip the baby from the surrogate, and hand it and put it on the chest. Hydrate. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's one of my favorites, Connie. Okay, Natasha, let me go back. This is exactly what happens when you are a celebrity. If that was a regular citizen, we would be fighting for our kids for years. Yes! You know what? I do a lot of work in the entertainment industry, or at least I did before my whole life blew up from stage 3 breast cancer. But, that's the reason I started my YouTube channel. And now, the Nancy Guthrie case has brought us all to this point. But, I'm worried about that. His mom can't be watching him 24 hours a day if he goes home. Can you imagine what those three kids experience and what they are hearing from children at school? I know. And I don't know if they've even been enrolled, because he was going to send them to Catholic school. That was part of his Miami plan. And I don't think school had started yet on August 4th when this happened. So I don't even know if they're at school right now. I'm so like, Perez, like, what the hell were you thinking? This is so disturbing. Let's see. Finn made it. I don't know what that means. Nanette. Absolutely should not see those children until they all have psychological help from child psychologists and DPS. I agree. Connie! Oh my gosh. Connie! Oh my gosh. Let's see who got 5 gifted memberships. Natasha, congratulations. Callie Lulu, don't know who that is. Triple Dad, never heard of you. I do think they are awarding people outside the chat now. One, Chivo, and Laura Robertson. Congratulations. The only one I see in the chat is Natasha. So please give Connie a thank you. This is awful, Mimi. This is awful. Pauline, yeah, I was going to write you last night and say, make sure you've got the bell checked, because you said you weren't getting the notifications of the lives. Thank you again, Connie. Yeah, she's the best. She's one of my biggest supporters. Um, yeah, I believe that TMZ got this, but yet the case is, supposedly. So I believe this. Now, will I, feel even better about it if Barbara says it? Yes, but I don't think she's gonna talk about this anymore. She's taking care of business now. Now, is she doing that back from LA? Is she doing that for Miami? Because remember, Barbara has a child. She has a young daughter who is a minor, who is school age, and you know, this week in LA, the schools have started. I don't know about the private schools, but I know that like City of LA, we've already started this week. I think it was the 18th or 19th. Burbank started this week, the Burbank School District, which is right next door to me. I don't know about the private schools, but everybody's getting back into school now. Uh, you know, she, her husband, he lives in LA with her and their kid. Like, is she gonna relocate to Miami? Is she gonna go back to her house in LA? Like, this is a mess. Um, Hilton was reacting out for, or Hilton was reaching out for help the week before. Yes, he was, and he was kicked out of the system. Gotta think her child might have witnessed her uncle breakdown. Yeah, apparently she has, although I've never heard Barbara say that. I've just heard the press say that. Um, our school started in the Central Coast. Yeah, like, I don't know if they're even enrolled yet. And who's going to pay for private school? Jennifer or Jenny? Why do we call you Jennifer? Jenny Martin. Where's my hype horn? Thank you, Jenny. Where are you coming in from? Everybody give Jenny a like, and you can even give her a reply because it's a $9.99 super chat. I guess on some of the more expensive ones, you can. I see it on my computer screen. It says reply, but I don't see it on my phone screen. So maybe that's a desktop thing only where you can send a reply. Somebody let me know. But thank you, Jenny. North Coast, Oregon. Well, how's the weather there? Mimi says, so sad. I am too, because, I did have the lives with him. He even sent me a DM after we did it like 2 or 3 times. And he was like, hey, maybe we should do this every week at the same time. And I turned him down because I just have so much on my plate. I turned him down, and then I felt bad about that, and I don't think he was upset about it because who am I? I'm nobody. But we would talk, and it was funny. This lady that used to work for me, she used to be one of my typists up in Northern California. She started writing something on my Facebook, and she mentioned something about actor Shamar Moore. And I had just been live with Perez Hilton where there was thousands of people listening. And we talked about something that occurred with Shamar Moore, like way back when he was, I think his website was page 666, or it was something like that. Because we talked about it, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's how long I've been following you, man. And then she writes me something on Facebook about, and my Facebook is private, but she's, we've known each other for years, and she starts typing about Shamar Moore all of a sudden. I'm like, oh my God, did you see that? And she was like, yeah. And she goes, you did great. And I'm like, I didn't even have any makeup on, and my hair is dirty. And it was very unplanned. It just happened. And then we did it again. We did it like 2 or 3 times. I think it was on Instagram. Could have been on his Facebook too. I don't remember. But he was like super nice to me. And I've heard other people that are more important than me, celebrities, say yeah, I've met him and he's a wonderful man. But then there's all these people that got, screwed by this guy, that still hate him. And then I understand that, if I were in Ireland Baldwin's shoes, I'd probably hate him too. But, and I don't, just because he hasn't treated me bad, that doesn't mean that I agree that he's allowed to treat other people poorly. I don't think he should have outed celebrities or anybody, especially him being a gay man, I just think that was BS. But I didn't know about all this him going after women. And I didn't even know the situation with Adrian Curry, but she's like, I hope he's okay. And I want him, I want the best for him. But my number one concern now is the children, or are the children. Like, I mean, how are they ever going to come back from something like this? 75 people in the house and only 25 thumbs up. How many of you that are watching right now are subscribed to my channel? Because if you're not, I want you to hit that subscribe button, because the more subs I get and the more viewers I get and the more thumbs up, the more everything, it'll show the YouTube algorithm that people enjoy watching my videos. Nanette says it's 98 here at 3:30 in San Diego. Oh my God. Like, I've always said, like, San Diego has the most perfect weather in the country because it's 72 degrees year round. So that's really scary that this El Nino might happen. Yes, it does, Natasha. I agree with you. Because, like I said, I didn't know about all of this, about some of the past indiscretions. And now I'm like, darn, I didn't know about that. Like, if I knew about that, I might not have gone live with him, because how does that make me look? Because there are certain YouTubers that we talk about quite frequently in the Nancy Guthrie case, and some of them I occasionally watch and some of them I don't. I have a problem with, people that have a criminal past, but people can change, and, but I'm hearing some really awful stuff. And that's why I said, like, Ireland Baldwin, when she's like, I'm not going to feel bad for him. He's a piece of, what? Like, she has every right to feel that way. And I don't even know everything that he did. I don't even know everything he did to Ireland Baldwin, but apparently, when I heard about what he did to Adrian Curry, I almost fell over. Like, I don't think it's right. But since I've been watching him, for the most part, he talked about being a changed man. And then apparently during the breakdown, he was talking about being a parasite, and, that this would be better for his children, and that he's a terrible person. And so I guess all of this past behavior is really weighing on him. Is this change just him being a good actor? Remember, he's got a degree from NYU in the performing arts, in acting. So I kind of, I agree with this statement, Natasha. I'll say it again, but that within itself speaks volumes, how he acted in the past. Yeah, I mean, I fear there is no best for him now. I fear the same thing, Jenny. They don't come acknowledged, but they rebuild from where they are, says Jason. Crystal. Oh, thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for the thumbs up. Last big El Nino, we had 90s in October, which is really weird for the coast. Yes. She's in Oregon. Connie says, oh, Connie E. Welcome in, Connie E. We got both Connies in here. Hi, everyone. We'll be driving, but listening. Thank you. RVing with G. You sub. Thank you. Appreciate you. I'll go check you out. Mimi, Hilton is troubled. Yes, and I don't think this is all just going to be cured in 16 days, where a judge can say, okay, now he can see his kids with supervision. Yeah, I've been live with him 2 or 3 times. I'd have to look at my DMs and my Instagram to see if I still have, like, the DM where we talked about it, like, after the last one, like, he said, do you want to do this every week? And I'm like, who am I? I mean, I did have my YouTube channel then, but it was like this small, So, if you're talking about Alec, I'm not talking about Alec. I was mentioning Ireland. But yeah, I agree with that. He is a complete narcissist. Absolutely. Nanette, I remember Jenny. I have good friends in Crescent City. Okay, let me just go on. You guys can talk amongst yourself. Yeah, this is like, once again, I'll ask the chat. Like, do you think that he should have access to his children, even supervised. I mean, I think it might be different if they said, okay, like in a controlled environment, like in a psychiatrist's office, he can see them once a week for 15 minutes or whatever, but that he could just go home and everything is exactly the same as it was before, except there's a little piece of paper that says his mom has temporary custody. But he's just going to be able to go home like nothing ever happened. I mean, my friend's grandson had a psychotic break and he was in a locked facility for 2.5 years. Absolutely. Like I said from the beginning, this could take years. We don't even know if he was going to live. Let's see. Jenny says, Nanette, that is what Perez should have. What, like 2.5 years? Yeah, I don't think it should be anytime soon. Should they ask the kids if they really want to see him? Yeah, but it's too early for a judge to say he can see the kids supervised when apparently they haven't even seen him yet in the hospital. It will be in a controlled situation. They weren't specific about that, Lynn. And that's what I'm trying to say, because here's this one statement. It says, there's another condition. Perez must first obtain psychiatric clearance, and the supervised arrangement stays in place until the court orders otherwise, or Perez and his mom agree to do something different. You mean they could just override what the judge says because they want to do something different? What are they saying? Are they saying in a controlled environment? Are they saying he could go home? And there's probably more to this, because remember, the court file is sealed. But yet TMZ claims that they were able to obtain the court docs. I wish maybe I should go to their website and see if they have posted these court documents. It says new court docs obtained by TMZ show a judge granted Perez visitation with his 3 children, but it must be supervised by either a family member agreed upon by both sides or a therapist. But where? Like when he gets out, he can just go home and, on a piece of paper, the grandma's in charge, but that's just being right back in the same boat. The same sinking boat. Hello, Margaret. Crystal, I wonder if the kids would want to visit with him or if they are too traumatized. Sad. No winners in this whole situation. I know. The youngest child is 8 years old. 13, that's Mario the third. Mia is 10, and little Maite is only 8 years old. Jenny, really nice talking and listening. How can I get notified of next time? Just make sure that you're subscribed and that you click the bell icon and click it to all. And then you should be notified. I think he would try to self-harm if he doesn't get to talk to his kids or see them after an appropriate amount of time passage. That, Crystal, that has crossed my mind many times. I mean, do you think that he's just going to walk out of there? He's not going to be covered in bodily injuries and scars. Mentally, he's just going to take a magic pill and whoop, he's fine. No. It's not going to work like that. Maybe this mental illness has been there for a very long time. Maybe the mental illness is what contributed to him being so mean to other people before I started watching him and was aware of any of this. Something is obviously not right. And there's certain things that a pill can't fix. You're welcome, Jenny. Natasha, he's not well enough to resume a healthy lifestyle for himself or his children. May all the professionals be diligent and empathetic going forward. Yes, good statement. It's just, this is disgusting to me. I knew he was in trouble when he was in Vegas and God was talking to him in the car. And he was all of a sudden going to Miami. And Miami's always a trigger for Perez. And I just sense like something's not right since he got sick in Las Vegas and he recovered, but he's going off the deep end. And I thought trouble would happen in Miami. Apparently he was already telling friends that he made the biggest mistake of his life and he couldn't wait to go back to Las Vegas. But apparently there's financial issues because remember his sister, we've talked about this in my other lives. If you haven't seen it, go to the Perez Hilton playlist. He was spending too much money when he was living in New York. He was spending too much money when he moved back to LA for the second time with the kids, and his mom was living in the guest house with her live-in boyfriend. And he was supporting everybody, the kids, his mother, the mother's boyfriend, then the mother's boyfriend, he got cancer and he passed away. But he's paying for everybody, and Barbara, who's paying for her whole family, from one person. But he just, a millionaire who spends like a billionaire, and you can run out of money really quick. And you have to have savings, even with health insurance. I've had health insurance my whole life, and I've been financially ruined. But yeah, if my dad had moved to Canada 10 years sooner than he did, and I was a minor, I could have gone with him too. I would have had my Canadian citizenship, and I'd probably still be there or I could have gone back to live there at that point when I got diagnosed with cancer because it wipes you out. And if he thinks, just having a surgery and sepsis and a blood clot wiped him out, wait till he sees the bills from this. I mean, if he has to be transferred into a private facility, that could be thousands of dollars a day. Natasha, you're Canadian. Wow, where are you coming in from? Oh my gosh. Yeah, my dad is a naturalized, he's no longer with us, naturalized Canadian. And one of my besties who passed away was Canadian. Edmonton, Alberta. I know a guy in Edmonton, John, who is a metal detectorist who has his own YouTube channel. I know John in Edmonton. And there's a guy I watch in Edmonton regularly, Curiosity Inc. If anybody resells or treasure hunts, go see Curiosity Inc. out of Edmonton. That guy is phenomenal. It's just, it's killed me. I'm okay with my dad's situation because, cancer just depletes our family. 3 grandparents lost when I was a very young child. My dad died when I was in my 30s, cancer. Then I got cancer, diagnosed in my 50s, but I think it was, to this day, I still think it was too late because of all the side effects that I've had. If it had been discovered sooner, I probably wouldn't be in this position that I am right now. But then I would have never started my YouTube channel. So we can't look back. We'll just have to move forward. But I'm very, very partial to Canada. In fact, as soon as it cools down in LA, which probably won't be anytime soon, I've already planned to use some of my YouTube donations here. And I'm going to go onto like eBay or Amazon, and I'm going to order a beanie, because I like to wear beanies in the wintertime. They keep me warm. They're cozy to wear a beanie. And I'm going to get a beanie that says Canada. Yeah. And I'm not bashing the United States. This is where I'm from, and this is where I live, and I love the United States. I don't like our health care here. But I know from my own medical situation, and I saved for years and years and years because I knew, someday, bam, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time for all of us. Very few of us will live a long, long life, and then all of a sudden just, boom, and you're dead in 5 minutes. It happens. It happened to a friend of my dad's when I was 10 years old, where it was a sudden, unexpected, just boom, but that rarely happens. Most people get old, they get sick, things happen. You have to plan for the future. And I'm sorry, all this paper that's on my desk makes me sneezy and itchy. So I'm always like doing this, which blocks my microphone. I think you could be Canadian through him. You know, me and my friend Kelsa Kinsley, we were talking about that before she passed. Like, you know, hey, maybe I could become Canadian because of my dad. Like, but you know what? I don't know anybody in Canada other than my stepmother, who I haven't spoken to since like the day after my dad died. She just went, cut all contact off. I've got a Canadian stepbrother and stepsister that I've never even met, but they're on the east coast of Canada. If I lived in Canada, it'd be a place like Edmonton or Calgary or most likely Vancouver. I have a niece trying through family who moved to Canada from Europe. Okay. Yeah, it's like, and people go, oh, it's free. Well, it's not exactly free. You pay for it in your taxes. Heck, I have a family that I sponsor from Thailand, as you guys know. And I know Americans that go to Thailand every year to have their medical checkups and their care because they, in a country like Thailand, where some of the people are still living in the jungle, you know, but yet there's big, massive cities in Thailand as well, and some of the most beautiful beaches in the world in southern Thailand. They have better medical care there than we have in the United States. The Thai people, as soon as something happens, they're like, they get on the plane and they go home. Now, some of them don't make it. They'll die on the plane on the way there because they're like, oh, I can't afford to go to a hospital in America. Even though they're American now, or they have their green cards. Like, something bad happens, they go to Thailand. They need a dentist, you know, they need a surgical procedure, they go to Thailand. I mean, our medical care just sucks. And, you know I feel his pain when he gets out and all those bills start coming in. He'll probably be bankrupt. But here's a guy he's made millions and millions of dollars. He's very good at what he does, whether you like him or you don't. And his sister was always like, you're spending too much money. And then when he moved to Vegas, I thought, well, maybe he finally took his sister's advice and he's downsizing. And he's just going to go for, an average, $300,000-$400,000 home in Vegas. No, he bought a $4 million mansion. I don't know how much he paid for it, but he's selling it for 4.25, or at least he was. Now he's lying in a hospital bed, unable to communicate or be on the phone, or, like I said, they're going to have to appoint a conservator. I don't know if he can even sign paperwork in the condition that he's in. And you know how medicated the guy probably is right now because they're trying to keep him calm? It may be a long, long time before he's able to come home. But if what happens 2 weeks before or a week before this happens again, and they're like, okay, you can go now, is he going to go home? Is he going to live in the same house? I wish I could see these court papers. I wish I could. Connie says, my parents both passed from cancer. Also, my only brother passed from cancer. No one in my family lived past 55. Oh my gosh. My husband died at 48. I survived 5 cancers. Healthcare, what's that? My mom, she actually lived into her 80s, and she passed from her heart at the same time that I had been in the hospital with my heart. But she just had it from old age. Supposedly my heart situation is from my treatment. And don't have any knuckleheads come in right now and go, oh, it's your lifestyle. No, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I've just worked and worked and worked and worked. And I always knew I'd be like my dad. I will overwork every day for the rest of my life until I'm too sick to do so. And that's exactly what's happened. The fact that I've been coming on the air every day for 202 days now, or whatever it is, since we started talking about Nancy Guthrie, that's mind-blowing to me. But anyway, back to Perez. What do you guys think? Should he be allowed to see the children supervise? Yes or no? And I know that's hard to answer when we don't know exactly what the conditions are. But I was thinking like, oh, if he's allowed to go home. My answer is no. Oh, haven't been in much. My father passed away this morning. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know he had been sick, miss. Oh, I'm glad he isn't suffering. He was 90 still. Oh my gosh. Well, God bless him that he lived to 90. That's an amazing, incredible life. It doesn't make it any easier, but well, I'm sure he's in a better place. But I wish I could give you a hug, miss. Everybody extend your sympathies to Miss 5. She's one of my channel regulars. Yeah, we're all going through something here. And the majority of my audience, surprisingly, are people that are 65 and older, which is older than my demographic. So there's a lot of people in here that are dealing with stuff. Yes, only if it's not in anyone's home. I think so too, Connie, if it's not in their home. But if they're saying like, oh, he can just get out of the hospital at some point and go live at home as long as Mama Perez is there, and she could be 80 by the time that happens, he could be in the hospital for years. And I don't expect Barbara to release any further information as far as the medical details. I think that'll be up to Perez, but he's not even allowed to have a phone, and there's this rumor, and it could just be a rumor because Barbara hasn't confirmed any of this. The family doesn't confirm it. I don't 100% believe anything, but there's this rumor going around that he's starting to talk more, and he's starting to ask which ones of his celebrity friends have tried to contact the family. And that they're hiding that from him, that nobody gives a what. I'm just, what, this would be easier for me to handle if there weren't children involved. I'm so sorry, miss. Yes, only if it's not in anyone's home. Who doesn't have celebrities? That's what they're asking. That's what the rumor is that he's asking, have any of his celebrity friends tried to contact him? So I don't know what you're talking about, Ishmael. Yeah, we're not talking about me. We're talking about Perez. But that could just be a rumor. That's none of that's been substantiated. That's just the thing that's going around in the press lately. You don't have celebrity friends? It's actually the opposite because of what I do for a living, or what I did for a living, where I live. Oh my God. And it's so funny because I'm not a celebrity. Almost everybody I am close to, live next door to, or best friends with, my Thai family, who I sponsor, the mother was one of the largest movie stars that ever walked Asia, like, oh, sorry, Maybad, I love your life. Ishmael, I'm going to have to time you out for 24 hours. Come back and visit us tomorrow. I don't have to explain my life. Amazing strip of land. Yeah, that's a Miami, because we're talking about Perez. Ian, thank you for coming. What is that, Connie? Oh my gosh, I gotta see what it is, because it's so big. Oh, it's the husky at the microphone. Oh my God, yeah, it was blocking the whole screen. That's so cool. Yeah, that's Miami. That's where Perez lives. That's not where I live. I was about to ask if you knew this person. Yeah, don't even talk to the trolls. I don't know who. I've never seen that name before. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just time out, people. Mostly Dolls Helicopter sent the floating heart. Thank you so much. Oh, I got 44 seconds left on the goal. And then I got to decide, do I reset it or do I go off the air? And do I release the long form video? Because a lot of my long form video watchers are not the same people that are watching my lives. Yeah, this is just, I wasn't sure. Like, do I do a live on this? Do I do the long form? Then I didn't put it up. Like, it might tank and get 100 views. You've made 50 cents. Right now, people are still watching my Jackie videos. Yeah, there's a little update on that today, but I don't have time to make another video today. Oh. Yeah, so I'm up to date except for the most recent thing about KD1, but everything else is up to date on that. And no news on Nancy today, but I haven't had time to really look into Nancy Guthrie today. And I haven't forgotten Nancy. Hashtag justice for Nancy. Connie LA says, I've been hyping your videos as much as I can. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I had 2 of them that were the top 100 hype videos in YouTube. But did they pay me for that? No. But did I get paid for the views? Yeah. Or will I? Yeah. I mean, I got my July check today, and I will get my August check at the earliest September 21st, which seems really far away when you're in the physical condition that I'm in. Because I'm like, and that will be it's not going to be huge, but it'll be the largest YouTube check I've received thus far. Let's knock on wood that I'm knocking on a piece of paper. Is paper wood? Then I'm still here to see that because I got to pay a lot of bills with that. But thank you, Connie. That really helps me. A strange woman with a Russian accent keeps throwing $50 bills over my fence. Should I call the police or keep the cash? Are you serious? Are they American bills or are they Canadian bills? Or are they Russian bills? What are they? I believe you. But it's on your property. I'd keep it. What type of bill is it? Let me know. I wish I had a way to bring you in, but I'm not on, I'm not like on StreamYard or anything. You could show us the cash. She has given 400 so far. Is it Canadian bills or US $50 bills or some other currency? Did you see the home invasion where the officer was unalived in Pima? Yes. No press conference once again. Nano's at his finest. Yeah, I heard all about it. It's Canadian. You know what? When my mom would visit back, when she was younger and she was able to travel, and she spent a lot of time with me in California. She spent time in Maryland with my sister, and she spent time with me in California. And I'd always be looking through her purse and looking at the Canadian bills, and I'd be like, "No, I'm not going to take your cash, but let me just let me look at them because they're so pretty." And then when my friend died, and my sister, or not my sister, her sister and I were going through the apartment, we were finding like cash and coins and finding even Canadian money, and her sister had a big bucket of cash, and so sad. But wow, how many bills you got? You've got 400 so far. Wow, I'd love to see a picture of that. Send it to me in an email. That's crazy. She says it's just because. Is she mentally well? I mean, oh my gosh. I don't even have a fence. Although I did find a $10 bill that was torn in half a few yards outside my door, walking between my door and the fountain. And it was just laying on the ground. and there was a legalized drug dealer that lived upstairs at the time, and it was like right over his like railway. From it's not really a balcony, but it's a walkway with a railing so people don't fall down to the first floor. But it was a perfect $10 bill, but torn in two halves, but like almost like a paper cutter had split it. Like, this is so weird. Because first I found the one half, then I found the other, and I was just like, oh, I'm just going to take this to the bank. And I walked into the bank and I handed it to them, like, can you take this? And they're like, sure. And they handed me a fresh, crisp $10 bill. Same thing happened to me once when I was briefly going to do dumpster diving, but I had to stop because of COVID and cancer. And I found a $20 bill that was split in half in a CVS dumpster, and I took that in. So that's happened twice in my life where I found a split 10 and a split 20. Now, I found plenty of cash at the beach before and in the parking lots at the beach. But wow, I wish somebody would throw me some 50s. I wouldn't mind her being my neighbor, says VMS. I know, right? You know nothing about her. Does she speak English? Is this all like just today, or is this like, that's crazy? That's amazing. Hey, before I sign off, hey, can one of my mods here, who's a mod? Oh, Connie, are you still here? Can you run the chat for a second? Because I have to go to the bathroom. I have to pee. I'm so sorry. I know, everybody, TMI, right? At least I remember to take the mic off and leave it on my desk. She is not my neighbor. Oh, she's not your neighbor. Do you have like a fence around your front of your property or your backyard? Like, is she walking down the sidewalk and you have like a fence, like a security fence or something in front of your place? That's weird. It's Canadian. She says it's just because I know nothing about her. Wow. I'm not sure how I would react if that happened to me. Especially, like, you don't want to take advantage of somebody, like, if she's not in her right mind. That's weird. Yeah, it'd be like if I found a missing wallet, my friend had found a missing wallet, and I actually did some PI work that cost me money to investigate to figure out where we could reach this guy. And we had to go out to his place twice, and it wasn't anywhere close to where I live, but I just thought it was the right thing to do because it had his driver's license and his green card and everything. And somebody had taken the cash out of it and threw it in a parking lot where my Thai family found it. And I'm like, oh, wow, his green card's in here. And then he sent a reward by check to her, but I did all the work to find him. But I just, I had a lost wallet a couple times and people have returned it to me. So I had always return like somebody's money. Or if I find something on the beach and I can identify who it belongs to, I would always return it. But if it's just some, they call them floaters. Sometimes cash will come floating by in the ocean like, oh, wow, here we go. Yeah, Connie says, I think I would definitely try to give it back. Yeah, especially like if she's not okay, You know, I tried giving it back to her and she comes back and throws it over the fence. That's wow. Tell her to come join us live on YouTube right now. Tell her where to go. April Davis PI. Maybe she'll send me a $50 super chat. Or is it like a prank? Like, you're being secretly filmed? Somebody's pranking you? Like you're on candid camera. But you know what? I would, I would try to give it back because that sounds like somebody who may not be, mentally well. Especially if she doesn't even know you. She's just some random stranger. And she's not your neighbor. And I wondered that too. Like, yeah, was it a prank? Yeah. I mean, I always try to do the right thing. I've many times I've been in grocery stores where the person in front of me is walking out with their change, even though hardly anybody uses cash anymore, but I guess some people still do. And people have walked out with their change and they've dropped like $20 on the ground. I've had that happen multiple times where people have dropped money, like in the supermarket line or just walking, after they grab their grocery bags. And I'm like, hey, you dropped your money. And security has, I've actually had a security guard come up to me once and said, that was a very nice thing that you did. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I would hope somebody would do the same for me because I'm always dropping stuff. I dropped half of my wallet between my car and my door one day when I moved into this place. And my neighbor, DeAndre, he found my driver's license and some credit cards and some cash. And it was so, I don't know how it happened. My Thai family, she used to pull into the garage in my Studio City house and be like, I just found a big wad of money right by your car. And I'm like, oh my God, that's mine. And she's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yes, it is. Give it back. Like, especially after surveillance, you get out of the car and everything just falls out, And I'm like, how the heck does that happen? But, I always try to give something back. Maybe she's a billionaire and just does this. Yeah, like I said, go ask her. If she comes back right now, tell her that you're live on a YouTube with April Davis PI and that my dad is a Canadian. And I would love a Canadian 50 sent my way. I don't even know how much a Canadian 50 is worth compared to US 50, but I'll take it. Oh my gosh. But I love the Canadian. I do love their cash. Like I used to always my mom would have American money and she'd have Canadian money in her wallet, and I'd be like, "Oh, let me see the Canadian money." And when I was a kid, I went to Europe once, and we weren't wealthy. They spent every dime they had to take me to Europe. I didn't even want to go because I was so upset we weren't going to California. My sister, she had to stay home. She was banned to stay home until she was like 4. She never got to go anywhere. And I went to all these different countries and I had all these different currencies, but I turned it in at the airport in London before we flew back to New York. And like now I'm like, oh wow, I wish I had all those coins and those bills from when I was a kid because my mom made a big deal about that. My parents, they gave me some cash and they're like, now you got to go stand in line at the hotel and you got to go get your money. And, they were teaching me how to like exchange the currency and go up to the counter by myself. I was only 9 and asked the guy like, okay, I need to exchange this for whatever the British money was then. I know now it's British pounds, but and it looked funny. And then in France it was different, in Switzerland it was different, in Italy, and I've been to Canada. Now it's like, wow, I wish I had all that from when I was a kid. Um, I don't know where she lives. Wow, is she just walking up and down the sidewalk and tossing it over? Is she talking to you? That's crazy. Wow. Do you have any security cameras at your place that can record some of this? So, you can show her face in case something happens later and be like, yeah, that's the lady when she makes the news. That's crazy. Yeah, what a lucky day. Still though, like it sounds like maybe somebody that's not all the way okay right now, and so I'd probably try to give it back. I always, like I said, I always do. Now, when I found the $10 out in the lawn that had been split in half and it was beneath the drug dealer's place, I was like, oh, look, I got a half of $10 and another half of $10. It does kind of creep me out. Yeah. That would be like me going to the mailbox. And that's happened a few times in my career where somebody would hire me privately, and I don't deal with the public very often, hardly ever. And they'd be like, I don't want this to be traced to me. And they weren't asking for anything illegal, but they're like, I want to pay you in cash, and I'm gonna go walk into your mailbox store, and I'm gonna have them place the envelope in your in your mailbox. And then I would go there and open it up and be like, wow, but still I knew it was coming, but it was still like, wow, like I did that video on I received a box of cash. You should see that video, everybody. If you haven't seen it, go to my reselling videos and see the video about I received a box full of cash. And I knew that was coming, but it was still exciting. So for this just to be some random Yahoo that's walking by your residence and they're throwing 50s at you, I'd be like, wow. But I'd have to think about, is the person okay? Oh, hey, Kelsers. Thank you for the flower. Yeah, Mostly Dolls Helicopters is going through a problem right now up in Canada. Some Russian lady is throwing $50 bills over his fence or her fence. You're a guy or a girl, Mostly Dolls Helicopters? Let me know. I would be like, what? Oh, hey, Patricia, welcome in. Like, that's crazy. That's absolutely insane. Oh, thank you for the star. You're a girl. Okay. Are you in Toronto? Or are you somewhere else in Canada? Okay, YouTube, stop messing up my screen here. Let me just, I gotta set something so it'll just stop. It goes up and down and it really disturbs my vertigo. It's like your goal has ended and it goes like this at the bottom of my screen and it's just like, and I felt the last 2 days, I felt like I'm kind of tippy when I stand, and I know that that's vertigo. Like whoop up, or I'll look down too quick and I'm oh, whoop, it's just a little subtle signs, and I'm like, oh my God, not now. But I've just felt like whoop 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 whoop. So that thing at the bottom of my screen going, hey, April, reminder, reminder. Yeah, that's crazy, Mostly Dallas Helicopters. Canadian 50s. Is this all just today that this has happened? And she is speaking English to you, but with a Russian accent? Like, is she an older woman? Like somebody that could be, suffering from dementia? Because that's bizarre. I've never heard of anything like that. And she doesn't know you. See, I thought that it was like a neighbor, like somebody that lived next door, and they're just like chucking it over the wall. Like, here you go. It would be one thing if you didn't know who she was and you just walked out in your yard and you were like, oh, wow, look at all these $50 bills. This is crazy. And then I'd want to have them verified to make sure they were real. Even when I found the $20 split in half in the dumpster, I took it to the bank and I'm like, is this real? Maybe 60-ish. Okay, so she's not like hugely old. But now that I'm old, I don't consider 60 to be old anymore. Now, if I was a kid and you asked me that, I'd be like, oh, that's an old lady. Um, oh, wow, Patricia, my daughter swallowed a chicken bone, is in the hospital getting a CAT scan. Oh my gosh. I will pray that they are able to remove that. Maybe 70. Okay. Oh, wow. That happened to my Thai family, but it was a fish bone and it got stuck in her throat and she was getting violently ill. And she had to go to the doctor, like an emergency, and they just told her to open her mouth really wide and they took like some medical like pliers and just stuck it down her throat while she was gagging. You know. And they pulled it out and they were like, here it is. And then she was just like so relieved because if they couldn't reach it, she was going to have to go to the hospital and have like emergency surgery. And it got, like I said, it got stuck in her throat and it was just horrible. It creeps me out just to even think about it. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm going to pray for her, Patricia. I'm sorry. Oh, wow. There's some strange things happening to people in this chat right now. Yeah, somebody lost a dad and someone's in the hospital with a bone in their throat. And Mostly Dolls Helicopters has received $400 in free cash. I've got $11.99 in super chats, not including, well, that's before they deduct the fees. But I'm doing good on the jewels today. I'm up to $6.97. Man, I wish I lived in a house right now. I'd be out in my yard like, are there any bills out here? Oh my gosh. I'd be out checking the bank parking lots and check the drive-throughs. There's always money at the drive-throughs. But whenever I find that at the drive-through, like in the old days when I would have McDonald's breakfasts and money would drop, I would just say like, "Oh, it's okay, just because they try to give me the changing." I'm like, "No, just put it in the donation bin because they have like a Ronald McDonald House, donation like bucket." And one time I took my change and I'm like, "Here, let me donate." And I went to, toss it and it missed and all this money went all over the parking lot. And the lady was looking at me at the drive-through like, "Why are you throwing money at me?" And I'm like, "I was trying to like put it in the donation because it just has a little hole there, so you can't reach your hand in it at the drive-through because people would probably try to steal it, right?" But I always like, even at the grocery store, if I find it, like at the check stand, like in the old days when everybody had cash and coin, I'd be like, "Did you drop this?" And they'd be like, "No, it must have been the last customer." I would take the money and put it in like the little donation bin where they're collecting money for the poor, this is for cancer, or this is for kids, or, you know, and a lot of those things are not even legit. But I always, try to like, oh, this isn't my money, so I'm just gonna let me let me just put it in the donation bin. Um, do you think you will cover the Hayden death? I don't know enough about it yet. I mean, I kind of have a feeling what happened, but I don't know enough about it. And I don't know a lot about her career either. I mean, obviously, I know who she is. Um, check the water fountain. Remember the days you could go to the shopping malls? I've actually been to, what's the name of the fountain that's in Italy where people come from all over the world and you're supposed to turn around backwards and boom, you toss the coin in the fountain and they have to come clean it out because there's so much money in there. And it's like they got coins from all over the world. That would be so cool to be able to jump into a fountain. I'm a treasure hunter, so I think what's happening to Mostly Dolls Helicopters is pretty cool. But yeah, I'd worry that maybe whoever this woman is, that maybe she's not okay. And if she won't take it back, maybe you could just oh, I'm sorry, I shook the table like an earthquake. maybe you could just hold on to it because maybe someone's going to come to the door, like a family member saying, hey, she lost her money here. I don't know. I mean, you could always call the cops, but then they'd probably look at you like, why are you bothering us with this? Are you crazy? Just put it in your pocket, lady. You know, like she could be in some sort of mental distress. Yeah, I heard that. I guess the cops investigating her boyfriend's house because he was with her when she died, and apparently they found a can of Narcan. Is that what they call it? When you do a drug overdose, and they're saying that her boyfriend administered it to her, but obviously, I guess it didn't work. It was too late. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a touchy subject, you know, kind of depressing. Kelsa sent the 100. Thank you. No one has told me to call the police yet. Everyone says keep it. And you have tried to give it back, right? And she just comes over and throws more money over the fence. Like, that's amazing. I would love to send me a picture of that to my email. I was just like, that's amazing. Like I said, if I was on StreamYard right now, I'd bring you into the chat, mostly Dolls Helicopters, and then you could show the audience. Like this. Yeah, I found cash at the beach that, the biggest pile of cash that I ever saw was in Santa Monica. But there was a lot of people, not around that cash, but on that beach. It was like a holiday or something. I was like, oh my God, there's a pile of cash. And I was rubbing my eyes because I was all sweaty and dirty and like, I had to be careful not to get like seawater in my eyes. And I'm like, am I seeing that? Am I seeing that? And then I hesitated for a few seconds, and then I realized like, oh yeah, that's what I'm seeing. But I had so much heavy equipment on that I didn't just like run. I just like, oh, well, let me go pick that up and see what I can find there. And some kid just darted in front of me and just scooped it up and goes, cash, cash, cash. And he was just like losing his mind. I'm like, oh, well, that would have been my biggest stash of cash. I've done quite a few metal detectors that have actually found money clips on the beach, and they're metal, and so they hit on the metal detector, but they're under the sand, and it's like it fell out of some guy's pocket, but they're not there anymore, and it's like I found money clips. I found money clips too. One was sterling. It was very old, very vintage. I still have it, I think, the vintage sterling money clip. I'll have to look for it. I'm sure because I have like quite a few silver stashes throughout, but it didn't have any money in it. But I was still like, oh, I finally found a money clip, but it was empty. I asked her why she was giving me this, and she just said because. Wow, too bad you're in Canada. Like, I can email you my address, mostly dolls. Or like I said, tell her to come join us on YouTube and send me a 50 spot. I don't care if it's Canadian. That's crazy. No, I would be worried, like that she's not like okay. Hopefully she's not like lost or something. Ask her if she would like to visit Kansas. I know. Oh my gosh. Sounds like the lady has no family and has nobody to give the money to, says Sandy P. Welcome in, Sandy P. Haven't seen my Sandys lately. Where are you coming in from, Sandy P? That's crazy. I know we totally went off the subject now. We were talking about Perez Hilton today, and now that I've talked to you guys, like I probably will release that long form video. Richmond, California. Oh wow, Callian, thank you for coming in. I know exactly where that is. Is it cool there? Because you're on the East Bay. You feel that cool San Francisco Bay breeze. We have chatted before. Yeah, I have a lot of Sandys. I have a lot of Sandys and Sandras, and lots of Karens and Kellys, and now I got like 3 Connies. Very cool and very windy. Oh, nice. I used to live in the Bay Area, and then I hadn't been there since I was a baby, and then we traveled there when I was 16, and it was the longest plane ride of my life. The second flight went from Houston to San Francisco, and then we were stuck in the airport for like an hour and a half because the baggage compartment area was under construction, so it took a long time to get the bags. But when we finally stepped out, and I could take that first breath, like, I was just like, I can breathe again. Oh my God. Kelsers, I am so disappointed. YouTube never sent me a notification you were on. They also bumped me off another channel I was watching over the Lindsay Clancy case. You know, you could always like reset your bell, or you could unsubscribe and resubscribe and reset it, and that might help. And make sure that if you're watching on a phone, that in your app part of your phone, like under your settings, that you have notifications turned on for YouTube. You might need to reset that as well. Just reset your phone, reset your YouTube, reset the bell. Yeah, I was thinking about you because I was looking for my mods when I had to use the bathroom, but luckily Connie was here. Wow. That's crazy, Mostly Dolls Helicopters. Yeah, do a complete reset. Yeah, Pauline was in here saying the same thing, and she's sending me messages like, I missed you again, and I told her to make sure that her bell notification is turned to all. Sometimes that works. Sometimes unsubscribing and resubscribing works, or make sure that your settings are turned on properly on your phone, or even reset your phone, like turn off your phone and then boot it up again if you happen to be on a phone right now. Because a lot of people did get their notifications. They were all coming in pretty quickly. I had quite a few people here earlier, actually. Sometimes we all need a reset. Yes. Wow. Well, I told you the story. I think I'm gonna go watch that live form or the long form video that I did, and then I'm gonna release it. I may not get any views, but I wanted to talk to you guys about it first because I'm supportive of every human being, and I'm not gonna judge this guy on his past, and I want the best for Perez Hilton, but I especially want the best for his kids. And when I read this, and I heard about this yesterday, that the new court docs obtained by TMZ show that a judge granted Perez visitation with his 3 children. I just I kind of took a leap of faith here that maybe that meant that would be allowed even when he gets out, and that they could live in the same home. Because it says supervised by either a family member agreed upon by both sides or a therapist. Now, if they're talking about at the hospital or at a neutral location, then I understand. But if that condition also applies to their home, it was only granted 16 days after this has happened. That's just unbelievable. Because you don't know what's going to happen as soon as he gets out of that hospital and goes home. Like, if he's going to get out of that hospital. I hope that he's where he needs to be for a very, very long time, and maybe the kids could visit him, like when he's feeling better. I'm very, very conflicted about how much access they would be able to have to him at this time. I don't want him to just be thrown out of the system very, very quickly and another tragedy happens. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative, but you have to think about the safety of everybody else in the family and in the household. I know. I agree with that, Kelsers. I hope Hilton becomes an advocate for others in a condition like him. I feel bad for all of them. Yeah, maybe he could help somebody. I know, Connie. And have you go look online if you can figure out where that house is, because I was able to do so. And I saw like the rental ad. Well, it wasn't a rental ad. It was actually on a real estate site, but that the owner's been there since the 70s or something. Um, I'd have to look at that again, but I've seen the inside of that house and it's all like white paint and white tile floors and like, oh my God. And the professional cleaning crew showed up the next day. Oh my God. I mean, they would need like, crime scene restoration type of company. And when I was seeing the pictures of the house, I was seeing it empty, but they lived in the house. So there was obviously furniture and there might have been, carpet or rugs put down and oh my God. And it went from, room to room. Like, I can't even imagine the cost of all that, just putting the house back together. What a terrible thought, Connie, but it's crossed my mind too, especially when the cleaning crew showed up. I hope none of them go back there. I feel the same way. His mother does have a lot of family in Miami, but how do you all of a sudden just take on 4 new people in your house? And apparently they've gone back there, and that's why his sister was begging for like the privacy at the house. And everybody was like, well, who is she to ask that when look what he's done for a living? And I said, as long as they're in public view, you know, game on. And I want the kids to have their privacy, but if they're out walking around in public view, then the paparazzi, they have every right to take their picture. You can't, have be after everybody else and then have special rules just for yourself and your own family. Like, that's not the way the ball rolls. The kids need to see their dad is not a monster. Gradually, their dad and them will heal. Time. Yeah. Yeah, we don't know how long he's going to live after something like this. When he was in the hospital with everything else, he was starting to have a heart arrhythmia issue, which, I'm an expert at. I don't know how many days, weeks, months, years I can still be here. Like we've all got an expiration date. This is just so, so much. This one hurts my heart. My biggest concern, though, are the children. I mean, I do care about Perez. I hope he recovers, but I don't know if you can actually fully recover from all of this. Natasha says, very true, April. Yeah. And welcome to being a PIP today, Natasha, since you were gifted by Connie. That's amazing. That'll put me up to like 97 members. Like, that's crazy. I can't believe it. You're too generous, Connie. Yeah, so if you guys want to see my long form on this, I'll go release it and I'll think about what time I'm going to do it. Yeah, it is what it is. Like, I'm not trying to make money off of this tragedy, but I mean, this was big when the day that happened. Like, this was like the biggest story in the world. Like the next day, or at least in the United States. I mean, this was huge. Even people who didn't know who he was. You know, him and my cousin came in here, and she's like, "I'm sorry, April, I'm old, but who's Perez Hilton?" Like, or she said that in like a comment on one of my videos, like, and I just said he's a celebrity vlogger. So there's a lot of people, I guess, older people are like, "Oh, who is he?" Like, see, in my world, being a PI and being around entertainment people and living in LA, I can't even imagine. Like, huh? But there are people that have completely different lives and priorities, and they were like, "Oh wow, who is he?" But everybody heard about it. You know, everybody's heard about Savannah Guthrie's mother too. A lot of people know who Savannah is, but some people are like, "Oh, who's Savannah Guthrie?" But you know, they know who she is now because of what's happened to Nancy. But yeah, I'll go watch that video, and I might release it later. So if you guys want to go see it, give it a thumbs up. Give this one a thumbs up. I'm gonna go eat something, and then my game's coming on later tonight because it's coming from LA. So yeah, I'm just gonna do what I always do. I'm gonna hydrate, get something to eat, watch a game, then I'll lie in bed later tonight and watch my YouTube videos. Don't have any updates on Nancy, Natasha. Yeah. I mean, I do have a lot of lives. Go see her playlist and you can see the latest. But I don't have a video on her like today. But thanks everybody for coming. Thank you to all my new like subs and members. Appreciate everybody. Thank you, Connie. Thank you for the super chats today. And thank you for the jewels. I'll talk to you guys soon. Love you.